We're going to be taking a look at this really interesting fractal where the last time we actually pulled this off, Bitcoin pumped up by 600%. That's a 7 times gain. Absolutely crazy stuff. But before we get onto all of that, let's dive into the short-term chart. This is my favorite type of analysis to do with you guys. And what we've seen is that $35,000 has acted as our key resistance level since we got this massive blast off that we were already expecting right here on this YouTube channel. Smash those like buttons up as you come into this video if you are excited for the rest of these moves in this market, because we have been so on point with the analysis here. We've seen 1, 2, and 3 rejections here within a relatively short space of time, only within 2 days here, which is absolutely fantastic because that does do a lot to tell us just how bullish the stance is in the market. And what we've actually done as a result of that is we started to form a few ascending triangle patterns. Okay, if we take a look at this a little bit more zoomed in, for example, right here on the 15-minute time frame, and we are zooming in just because, you know, this is to kind of demonstrate some things to you, but also because the price action has been very aggressive. What's very clear is that we are starting to see an ascending triangle forming right here on the chart. And that's not particularly surprising because if we take a look at not this chart, but this chart right here, we've actually already pulled off a nice few breakouts from ascending triangles. This is just going back over the last few days, back to October 20. So within this same month, just going back like 5 days, we've already broken out of a couple of ascending triangles. And we're now just, I mean, depending on how you draw this, we're already breaking out of the next one right now, which is absolutely fantastic. And what makes this really nice is that this is going to start giving us some interesting speculative targets. Again, this is going to depend on how you draw them. But if we do take a look at this chart right here, we can see that the ascending triangle spans roughly a 4.6% range. So not huge, but definitely not tiny either. And if we do manage to get the same kind of breakout, that does give us a target of $36,000. But let's break down how Bitcoin can actually get there. You know, one of the key things that I like to look at when the markets are moving like this is the first thing I want to acknowledge is that, look, I've already covered this with you. Bitcoin with this big move up did not establish any resistance. That is very, very clear. You can see this super, super clearly. We just shot up and that was it. In fact, we can go onto the 5-minute time frame to really try and get granular with it, and we can't. I mean, if you look at the actual run up right here, most of it happened on one 5-minute candle. And, you know, that's going to be down to a couple different things. You can call it market manipulation, you can call it bot trading action, and you can call it shorts covering, shorts closing up, okay? Because when you're in a position that's actively selling Bitcoin, which we know that the majority of Binance traders have been on, if we take a look at the 4Flies dashboard here, we've known this for quite some time now, that, well, not for quite some time, but for a good amount of days now, that Binance traders, especially on retail side, have been way more bearish than they've been bullish. And so when you start to get these short positions closing up, the only way you can close an active selling position is to buy those Bitcoins back, okay? And if you have to buy the Bitcoins back, that means you got to buy the Bitcoins that are on offer to sell. And if there are no Bitcoins on offer to sell, i.e. if there's very little supply and a lot of demand very quickly because you got to close those positions because your stop losses are being hit or you're getting liquidated and so on and so forth, well then, and there's nothing to sell, well then you're just going to push that order book higher. And that's why we see these big candles. So it could be for a range of different reasons, including the ones that I've just described and some others. And I don't want to, you know, kind of guess which one it was. Honestly, it's usually just a combination of all of them and a lot of fear of missing out as well. So just all of these factors making this shit go crazy, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, this was a crazy candle, okay? From more or less from the low to the high, it managed to move up by 8% within 5 minutes, and even less than that. I mean, we can dive into the 1-minute time frame. It's really not important, but the reason that I'm bringing this up to you guys, the reason that I'm really drawing your attention to this in particular, look, this was all in a 1 minute, basically, you know, just across 1 or 2 minutes here that we actually pulled off this move. The reason that I'm drawing all of this specific stuff to your attention, ladies and gents, is because when you've broken out of an area of incredibly low volatility, like we had for basically 200 days within this sideways range, trading between this yellow line here and this yellow line here, 25 and 31K, when you've kind of broken out of a pattern like that, and you know you've broken out so explosively, oh my god, I can't speak, so explosively like this is where you're actually going to be starting to expect some you know, much more volatility to kind of be in the market around over here. And I think that would be very reasonable to expect as well, because when you've got that kind of breakout, you're basically leaving an area of low volatility and entering an area of high volatility. So typically, it's not always the case, but typically when that happens, we are expecting a lot more volatility to follow through in the near term. And obviously what that translates to as traders is a lot more trading opportunities. Now, obviously, we've seen Bitcoin dominance continuing to rise up. It's again at a high. And again, to put this in perspective, Bitcoin's dominance has not been this high for 922 days. We're going all the way back to 2021. In fact, if we do take a look at Bitcoin's actual price action here, the last time that Bitcoin even saw these kind of price levels was back here in May of 2022. So that's well over a year ago now, pushing a year and a half next month. That is 530 days ago that we were actually at these kind of price levels before. And if we manage to kind of start getting a little bit higher, we're going to start to reclaim some really important levels. We can actually take a look at this on the BLX chart to help put this into perspective, because it's actually quite crazy, to be honest. If you do try and look at things that I'm about to show you, this is going to change your perspective of the market, because what we've got with some of these key ranges right here are really, really important levels that Bitcoin hasn't quite been able to trade up to with any weekly close since 2021. And that's a really, really big deal. We did come down here with wicks and with one big crash down here, but in terms of actual kind of consolidation or anything that's a little bit more significant across time, Bitcoin really only hung around this level back in 2021. So you can really start to see that we are in quite a powerful place right now. I mean, it's a Wednesday. We got this pump on the Monday, obviously, or maybe even on the Sunday. I can't remember now. Let's actually take a look at when that pump did happen here. This was on the Monday on the weekly open. So we've still got 4 days to mess this up and retrace back down. Let's not act like Bitcoin is poised to actually go up. We could certainly just, fart and just drop back down. But let's continue here, because I don't necessarily think that's actually going to be what we see here. But what I think is definitely quite interesting here is the factors at play with these resistance levels that are up ahead. And one thing that I think is really important to note now is, because of that kind of high volatility that I'm expecting now, I think it is fair to say that these moves could start coming a little bit faster. And we can already start to see that manifesting. If we take a look at the 1 hour EMA ribbon, for example, it's just been gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous, ladies and gents, literally since before we actually got the breakout above $30,000. Ever since, look at this, guys. It's fucking beautiful. Ever since we got a spread on the EMA ribbon way back down here, this is 10 whole days ago, but only 10 days ago. Really quite impressive price action. 10 days ago, we were at $27,000. 10 days later, we're at $34,000, $35,000. That's a huge $7,000 increase. Really, we haven't seen volatility like this on Bitcoin for a very long time. And again, like I said, what this means is trading opportunities. If you want to be able to trade the markets where I'm trading them, where I've been able to pull off profits way bigger than this, I actually showed it to you on video just a couple of days ago, where my positions are at, the amount of ridiculous fucking gains that I've seen in this market. I have been pulling these gains on the Bybit exchange, and that is linked right here down below, where you can actually get up to $30,000 completely free of charge to trade with. All you've got to do is start trading using my link in the description down below. Take a look at this, guys. I want to show you where these positions are at. Here is my Bitcoin position right there at 600% profit, looking absolutely beautiful. And my Tron position has also crossed above 200% profit there. So beautiful, beautiful gains right here in this market. You can check out the exchanges I'm using linked down below. CoinW is giving you a $50 free trading bonus when you just open a futures account using my link. And I spoke to them again, and that is going to come to you within 24 hours of opening your futures account. So they have to do it manually. This is a very rare offer. They don't actually do this often. That's why it's been really hard for me to make sure that you guys get it quickly. But I've been able to convince them to make it a 24-hour turnaround. So definitely check it out using that link in the description. That's just free money. You don't need to make a deposit or do anything at all. And that is free money for you to trade with. And any profits that you generate are yours to withdraw. Take the fucking free money, guys. It's not going to last forever. Super, super cool offer. BingX, obviously traditional finance. Super, super cool exchange as well. But this 1 hour EMA ribbon is potentially cooler than all of that. It's not. But what we've got here is, ever since we got that spread, look at these bounces that we've been getting into the EMA ribbon and then out, in and then out, in and then out, in a little bit deeper, but then out, just touching it and out. Absolutely beautiful. And what this is showing us is that the market is responding incredibly well to these short time frame 1 hour moves in the market, which is huge. This is a strong indication of exactly what I was talking to you guys a couple of minutes ago about, where I was saying that we are now potentially in this kind of range of high volatility coming out of low volatility. And this is proven by the fact that we're so responsive to, quite frankly, a very aggressive indicator. The EMA ribbon is a very aggressive indicator on a very aggressive time frame. The 1 hour time frame is generally the lowest time frame that I ever analyzed with you guys, and even that is perhaps a little bit too aggressive. So I think that this does put Bitcoin in a really interesting position. The 4-hour EMA ribbon is only potentially like a day away, really, 2 days away from catching up to where Bitcoin is now as well, which does put it in a really interesting position where, like, even if it drops, we are still looking at a really nice situation right here in the market. But one of the things that I think is actually quite compelling for Bitcoin is the bear case. You see, if you are a little bit weary, a little bit worried of where Bitcoin might go, by the way, this chart was from my most recent video. I actually just made a video for you guys talking about the potential for Bitcoin being in a bull trap. Go check that out. It is a really good video right here. Biggest Bitcoin bull trap ever. Obviously, the titles are always quite explosive. You know the game, but the content is obviously what you guys are coming for. And this was a really, really good video. We were talking about the possibilities of Bitcoin being in a bull trap pattern right now and the potential disasters that could come as a result of it. And most importantly, why I don't think that's what we're in. But nonetheless, I'm still going to exercise my brain by considering these hypotheses. And, you know, if we take a look at this nice little Fibonacci retracement here, coming from basically when the market started getting crazy, right off this low, just to help you put this in perspective so you can understand what we're looking at. We're looking at, what is it, this low over here. This is where things really started to kick off for Bitcoin. We got this really nice big 32% move within 2 weeks, basically, even less than that, actually. You know, so this Fibonacci really helps to show us where a potential bounce zone could be. And it does line up perfectly with this $30,000 psychological area of support, which we know is so valuable, but it also lines up with pre-existing horizontal resistance, which now we're hopefully going to see turning into support. So that's what we call an SR flip, support resistance flip. You know, hopefully we're going to be getting that SR flip down there if we do end up falling down there. And of course, it also lines up with that holy 618 Fibonacci level. So that is absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. And that tells us that if the market does start to drop down in a slightly more aggressive manner than perhaps what, you know, might be comfortable, because this is a 14% drop, which, you know, is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, then actually that's going to put Bitcoin in a really good place. And I think it's really important to discuss this because the sentiment level in this market is too high right now. You know, to help you put this in perspective, you know, we are at a reading of 72 right now. And the last time that we saw a reading this high, look, yesterday was 66. We're shooting up. Look at this. We haven't seen this kind of increase in a long time. The last time that we saw a reading this high, let's actually trace this back, was in 2021 and in 2021 November. So, you know, we're like 5 days away from November right now as it is. And that means that we haven't been this high in terms of sentiment for 2 years. Not 1 year, not a year and a half, 2 fucking years. An absolutely massive time frame that we haven't seen sentiment this high. And I want to highlight for you where we actually saw the sentiment this high, because this is where it's actually going to start to become a little bit concerning. I've actually drawn this on a chart for you, ladies and gents, right here. You absolutely beautiful legends. Take a look at this. This arrow that I've drawn for you guys was the last time that Bitcoin's sentiment index was this high. This is a warning, ladies and gents. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I've made more money than most people in this market off this move. I've been long since the fucking bottom, you know, and I've been long on an altcoin too, just to prove to you that this ain't no fluke, ladies and gents. Your boy's out here pulling these gains in, showing the VIP members how I'm doing it in real time. Links in the description. You already know the deal. But all the while, I'm staying extremely critically aware of where this could go wrong and where things have gone wrong in the past with the same setups. I do think Bitcoin's in a strong place right now, but let's not ignore the facts. We're facing a massive weekly Ichimoku cloud, and we're facing the exact same sentiment level that Bitcoin had when Bitcoin triggered that big crash that put us into the crypto abyss, to quote Crypto Kirby. Where the fuck are you, Crypto Kirby? Please come back. We miss you so much. And so with this sentiment reading right here, you know, I think that this is a really, really strong indication that things are starting to become quite exuberant. Now, does that mean Bitcoin has to stop? No, it does not mean Bitcoin has to stop. It does not mean that Bitcoin has to stop moving up and that we have to start reversing right now. But it definitely means that this is where you do not buy into the caution. This is where you do not start riding that bandwagon and getting in a fucking circle and patting each other on the back and acting like we're all going to make it and, you know, scheduling your yacht parties in Miami and fucking Saint-Tropez and stuff like that. We're not there yet, ladies and gents. And the more you see people moving towards that sentiment, the more weary you better become. If you don't, you will be one of the losers. Don't be one of the losers. Stay with me right here. We'll keep making money in this market and we'll let the other people do the losing for us. You know, this is very, very important. So if we do start to get that kind of pullback, that is going to put us in a really good place. But right now, is Bitcoin showing any signs of pulling that off? Not really. If we take a look at this on the 4-hour time frame with our Ichimoku cloud, we do have some beautiful support right here lining up with our pre-existing yellow line. It's actually placed very well because this yellow line does represent that 31.5k resistance area, which is more or less where Bitcoin was facing resistance throughout the course of 2023. And of course, this level has been critical going all the way back to 2022, where we actually also saw these beautiful rejections right here, nice and clean for the market. And we can go even further. We've seen some important consolidation sitting at this level. We've seen a good number of fairly significant reversals along this 31.5k line within this rough range. And we can go even further, and we've still got bounces coming off this line back in early 2021. We've got a little bit of consolidation, a big reversal here. This was a huge reversal right off the all-time high, so definitely critical moves here. I mean, look, I don't need to keep on trying to prove this to you, and I can't because that was all the price history, but this is a really, really important area on the market. So getting a retest down here would be huge. And again, this does line up more or less with that Ichimoku cloud. With that Fibonacci retracement. We've got the Fibonacci retracement up here at about $30,000, and we've got the green line sitting at 31,500, and the Ichimoku stretching all the way down to 30.8. So it's all the same rough range, looking something a little bit like this. It's a big box, don't get me wrong. You know, it's hard to be exact. It's hard to give you exact kind of ranges in this market right now, but this is more or less what I think would be a beautiful, strong bounce zone for Bitcoin. And I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. If we stretch this back, this is exactly where Bitcoin was finding major resistance again, like I said, and major support. We can do this exercise all day, ladies and gents. I mean, what's extremely clear without any shadow of a doubt is that this level is critical for the market. Again, let's just zoom out and really stretch this area back. I mean, you can really start to gain a sense of appreciation now for how important this area of support would be. And it does line up with that 4-hour Ichimoku cloud of support as well. So what's really useful here is this is telling us that even if things start getting bad for Bitcoin, they're actually really, really good. Moving on, where are the momentum indicators for the 4-hour time frame? Again, you know, they are sitting anywhere between 30,000 and 33,000 now, which is good. It's a nice big cushion for Bitcoin to enjoy, and if we do take a look at some of the other, kind of short-term moves that could be coming off here, I think that, this ascending triangle is going to put us firmly, if we do manage to get that breakout, up in this nice big green box that stretches between 35 and 38. Why have I drawn these two levels? Well, you would know that if you watch one of our recent videos, so make sure that you are subscribed. All of these videos are so important, by the way. We've been pumping out so many videos just in the last day. Really, there's been 4 videos, and if you missed any of these, you must go back and watch them. This one is the least important video because this was actually right before the breakout. This video was made on the breakout, so just watch these last 3 if you've missed them. I'm talking about different things in each video. You must watch them. Really, really important context. And again, do make sure that you've actually checked that bell icon, because that's going to be how you can guarantee that you get notified for these videos. Of course, you need to turn your notifications on YouTube as well, though. And so, if we do come back to the market here and look at these 2 horizontal lines, why have I drawn them here again? I mean, these are just the strong kind of reversal levels that Bitcoin has been experiencing, the strong reversal levels that Bitcoin has been getting some, rejections at, some support at, big pivot points in the market. And this whole range just has a lot of consolidation. I mean, if we throw the VPVR indicator on right here and take a look at the visualization of where these key levels are in the market, we are starting to see a nice buildup of volume right here, and actually even a little bit higher, because this is where we did manage to get some more consolidation and perhaps importantly some more reversal action as well. What's very clear, and we knew this already, was that the price gap that we jumped was the least resistance that Bitcoin would be facing. So, this is coming as no surprise. There was a huge amount of, I know you can't really see this, but you don't need to, it's okay. There was a huge spike right here on the VPVR, followed by a nice big gap, and now that volume is starting to build up again. So this is naturally where we are going to expect some trouble for Bitcoin. So, I think that we're moving very much as we would expect. I don't fully agree with the VPVR showing us not so much resistance over here, still quite a bit. It is clearly a resistance block, but I do think that, once we are able to kind of get the breakout, if of course, because nothing is guaranteed here, that's when we could really start to play around in these slightly higher ranges. It's going to be a case of just moving up to that next zone of resistance and maybe, consolidating and then moving up to the next one. And then, we get a big pullback, it pulls us back down to say 30K, for example, maybe it comes like that. That would actually be very typical of Bitcoin. I think the big thing that's really important to keep in mind now before we get back to this chart that I opened the video with is that, we have actually seen with Bitcoin, when we start to break these high time frame resistance levels, when we start to break these really big resistance levels like 30K, Bitcoin does become quite hard to stop. The logical resistance areas that should be holding Bitcoin back don't tend to hold as much weight as you might expect over Bitcoin. And I think that's really important to keep in mind, because you don't want to be the guy that's kind of, just stuck on the side, still calling for everything being bearish while everybody else is making money. A lot of people are quite happy to be that guy. You feel like you're the smart guy. You feel like you're the guy that's good at poker or whatever. It's always the poker guys for some reason. I don't know why, but it doesn't even have to be a poker guy. Just somebody who's very smart, super high IQ, very successful in their own right. That's sad. I think that was a Lambo that just drove by. People in Dubai, they have a lot of money, but then they buy Lambos and G-Wagons. But anyway, it's just such a horrible sound, just super distracting. A lot of people that are super smart, they do end up kind of just missing out on a bunch of the gains, because honestly, one of the things I've noticed is that the more smart you are, the more pessimistic you become. And the fact is, optimists are the ones that make money. So, especially in times like now, especially since the beginning of this year, as I've been telling you for the entire year, feeling like I'm going crazy, repeating myself over and over and over, but knowing that I must repeat myself, it is the most important thing to do, because I have carried out sound analysis. So let me talk to you a little bit about some of these larger time frame patterns. They're actually very interesting. Bitcoin has repeated some of this, or actually at least rhymed with some of this as well already. So I think that is really, really interesting. Here's the first one I want to draw to your attention back in 2016, where we actually managed to form this resistance line across 2014 all the way into 2016. And then we started getting a lot of resistance rejections up here. We found some really interesting lows, followed by more or less a double bottom, but a slightly lower low on the next occasion. And we've got, already you can start to see that there are some key similarities here. We've got a nice set of lower lows here, and then the last two lows are fairly similar, but the second low is slightly lower. And then we've got the same kind of interactions, constant rejections off our resistance line. And there are a couple different ways to draw this resistance line, by the way. So, I don't want to act like this is the only way to look at the chart, but we did manage to pull off a $20,000 move to the upside, which is actually incorrect, but it's like the $19,000 move to the upside, so it's more or less the same thing, or 4,000 odd percent to the upside as well, depending on how you want to view it. And that is definitely super, super cool. And if we take a look at the next situation where we did something similar, it's not as clean. We didn't quite follow the exact same pattern as I am stretching a little bit here, but what we did have was a similar trend line with a similar set of rejections bunched up fairly close, and then that beautiful breakout with a 600% move to the upside here. So that is absolutely beautiful and definitely indicates some potentially very, very high price targets for Bitcoin. I mean, we don't have to pull off a 600% move or a 4,700% move, but if we just do a $20,000 pump from here, or even 10K pump from here, that still puts us between $40,000 to $50,000. And that is definitely a very, very interesting set of price levels to be considering in this market, especially when we consider that, as I said in one of the recent videos, as we climb higher through these resistance levels, it's almost like the air gets thinner, the atmosphere gets thinner. And of course, what I mean by that is that the resistance gets thinner. The resistance that we're facing is going to be weaker and weaker. And that's quite simply because we've spent less time around those levels. The 30K level was the strongest area of resistance, and we've broken it. It's like, you beat up the strongest person in the ring, and now everybody else that's left is weak. As long as you've got the stamina, you're going to be good. And that is literally like so fucking accurate for what Bitcoin is facing right now. Like, Bitcoin has beaten the big boss, and now it's just a case of, well, how much stamina have you got left? And if it's got enough stamina, then the rest of these little guys are not going to be a problem. And that is what I think we could be up against right now. So if you do manage to break that area of resistance at 38, I think it's going to be a nice, easy ride up to about 40, 41. Then we've got 44, and obviously we can kind of take it from there. Obviously, we're on the weekly time frame. It's not so clear, but if we do zoom out onto the daily, these levels are actually very, very clean. Each of these resistance lines that I've drawn with you guys live on one of the recent videos, I believe I drew it live on this video, which is really good because you guys can start to see how I actually draw my resistance lines and just how quick my analysis is. I don't do it quick on purpose. It's just quick because it's simple. But obviously it works incredibly well because nobody is making gains like this. I mean, this is such an outdated screenshot now. I'm now up to 600% profit, on this Bitcoin position. Like I said, obviously traded right here at home at Bybit, and obviously that position on Tron also tripling, my money on the capital that's left in that position. Just absolutely crazy shit. Yes, I'm doing simple stuff. Yes, I'm trading in some ways quite boringly, and it is boring. I'm fucking proud of it. That's how I make money. But at the end of this, I can't speak now. At the end of the day, I'm not sacrificing gains. I'm still making more money than most people in this market, and I'm still doing it way safer with way less mental stress. And that's just because I am taking these very, very simple approaches. So definitely super cool. Definitely worth considering as we climb on higher in this market. So those are going to be some of the things that I'm looking for. These wicks are quite telling. It really tells me that Bitcoin wants to break out. I think that if we lose this diagonal support line, that's not going to be amazing. It definitely might be an indication of some drops to come. And by the way, this is how we can kind of look at that ascending triangle. If we drop our resistance line a little bit lower, it doesn't really matter how you draw it. At the end of the day, we are still looking at the same pattern here, and so if we do manage to get that breakout, I think this is gonna just rise up to that next area of resistance. And if not, we could start looking. I mean, look, this will start to look a little bit heavy. This is, by heavy, I mean that we rose up by quite a bit, but now we're trading sideways quite a bit, and it's almost like like we went up by this much, but we're sideways by this much. Like this line is longer. It's kind of an intuitive thing. I'm sure that you actually understood what I meant anyway. It's not a very scientific way of describing it, but it obviously makes a lot of sense. I mean, you want to correct proportionally to the move, and especially considering the kind of big correction we've just been in for 200 days, the time-based correction. So I do think that if we it's been 3 attempts now. If we're not breaking out very soon, then it might be dumped down a little bit, whether we go down here or whatever. It really doesn't matter. It's just going to mean nicer opportunities in the market. If that kind of thing does happen, that's probably where I'm going to be interested in at least considering some picks in the altcoin. What the fuck is Pepe doing today, ladies and gents? Wow. I'm at least going to consider some picks in the altcoin market. I think that they've really gotten destroyed quite a lot. I mean, Ethereum just cannot hold on against Bitcoin. Cardano can't hold on against Bitcoin. None of these coins can hold on against Bitcoin, quite frankly. And this is proven very clearly by just looking at the Bitcoin dominance charts. So, this is going to start spelling some opportunities. I'm going to be outlining what they look like to me inside of the 4Flies VIP group. You can join by following this direct contact link in the description down below, or by clicking on this red link here, and then you can click on my name and send me a message. It's a direct chat with me. It's on Telegram. Obviously, you will have Telegram, I'm sure. And of course, if you want to get access to over $196,000 in amazing bonuses in this market, then check out the links to the exchanges down below. They are all not allowed in certain countries around the world. So if your country is one of them, do not use them. You're going to be IP blocked anyway. But if they are available to you, then go ahead and check them out. You're getting up to $30,000 completely free to trade with just when you start trading on Bybit. And of course, you've got 0% spot fees right here as well. So if you want to buy and sell shit coins, you can do that without paying any fees. So it's super, super cool. Those of you that are registered to Bybit under me, you're going to be getting access to my $100 trading package worth more than that. I really need to change this text. So definitely check that out if you are interested. And like I said, a free $50 trading bonus when you open a futures account on CoinW using my link. You just have to sign up and open that futures account. That's it. Literally a few clicks. Within 24 hours, you will get that money deposited into your account. They are doing this manually, and they are doing it for you guys. So definitely take advantage of this while it's available. I'm sure that they don't want to do this for too long. I'll have to speak to them. I'm probably going to be meeting them next week. But take advantage of this while you can, because this is a very, very cool offer. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one.